Over the past year, significant changes worldwide have prompted us all to adapt to them spontaneously. With the technological advancements today, the process of translating our challenges to solutions have been swift and time efficient. Now we have a fireside chat on digitalizing supply chains to empower Kiranas. I would like to invite Arvind, Mediratta Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Metro Cash and Carry India, and Abhishek Malhotra, Partner, McKinsey and Company, for the chat session. Over to you, gentlemen.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another session as part of the ET event. My name is Abhishek, and it's my pleasure to introduce Arvind. Arvind Mediratta is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer at Metro Cash and Carry. He brings many years of experience on the CPG and the retail side. And over the next few minutes, as part of this fireside chat in this new world, we will discuss a topic which is digitalizing supply chains to empower Kiranas. Welcome, Arvind, and look forward to an engaging conversation over this fireside chat.
Thank you, Abhishek. Look forward to the conversation, and hi, everyone.
Well, to say the last 2 years have had a transformational impact on the Indian FMCG and retail industry would be an understatement. Obviously, on one side, there's been lots of turmoil, there's been a lot of loss, there's been a lot of pain. And I'm sure all of us know people who have gone through this. But at the same time, there's been transformational change in many, many ways. I think the industry has been reshaped, consumers have changed, purchasing power has been impacted. And one thing which has been constant across the board is the role digital is playing in all our lives, right? Even as consumers, whether it's studying, the fact that this conference is being done over a Zoom link, as well as children, banking, the consumer and retail sector has not been, spared from this. I guess today's discussion, we want to focus on 3 broad topics, right? I think first, Arvind, we'll go a little bit deeper into the role, what do Kiranas do, right, in this new future over the next 5 years. Then I want to touch a little bit upon, what are customers seeking, consumers seeking, and what Kiranas can do much, much better. And then thirdly, I know you are trying to help them, a lot of other players are, and I think I'd like to delve a little bit into that part, right? How can others help? So maybe to get us kick-started, quick question, there is e-commerce, there is modern trade, in modern trade, obviously cash and carry, which you run, big format, but other things. Now there's a lot of investment in quick delivery, the hoods are full of, especially in Bombay, Delhi and Bangalore, of 10-minute grocery delivery. And we've seen this before, right? The death of Kiranas has been written many, many years, many times, but just your view, overall Kirana landscape, where do you see, the next 3 to 5 years Kiranas going, and specifically, what do you see them doing and what do you see them not doing, right? Just would love to get your opinions on that.
Thank you, Abhishek. I'll say there are 4 things that I've noticed, in the last 3-4 years. And some of these things were in play even before the pandemic. The first thing is digitalization of the economy. It's been a trend even before pandemic. Probably the trend got accelerated during the pandemic. The second thing is formalization of the economy, with demonetization followed by GST introduction. The third big thing has been easy availability of risk capital. Every day we read newspaper reports where a new company becomes a unicorn or a new startup becomes a unicorn, and there are so many unicorns being created every year in the country. And the fourth, obviously, is a pandemic, which you touched upon. So all these 4 seminal events have impacted the entire retail sector. I'm sure every sector in the country in some form or fashion. But the interesting thing is, despite many people writing the obituary of the Kiranas, maybe a bit prematurely, the Kiranas have thrived over the last 2 years. And I want to share with you some data from Nielsen to support this. So let's look at the January, February, March quarter, 2020, before the pandemic. The share of Kiranas in the Indian total FMCG space, food and grocery space, was about 89.7%. a whopping 89.7% share of FMCG business came from traditional trade or Kiranas. If you look at the latest quarter, October, November, December 21, that share people would normally think would have come down, has actually gone up to 90.9%. So Kiranas have actually gained at the expense of modern retail and to some extent, maybe other players. E-commerce has not grown as much as people make it out to be. Those are the facts. This is data for urban and rural. If you now look at data only for urban, and that to the big cities, where the e-commerce players have been very, very aggressive, again, the facts are very interesting. The share of Kirana or traditional trade was 68% in the pre-pandemic period. And if you look at the last quarter, October, November, December 21, it went up to 71%. So they gained 3 percentage points share, did not lose share. They've actually gained share. So who has lost share? The modern trade share has come down from 24.7 to 21.3. And if you look at e-commerce, one would have expected that e-commerce would have doubled share or tripled share, because this was the period when everybody was shopping online ostensibly. But the reality is the share of e-commerce has gone up from 7.3 to only 7.7. So only 40 basis point gain in share for e-commerce. So which clearly says that the traditional Kiranas have adopted themselves very well to the new reality, because of which they have not only maintained their share, but actually grown share. And, as a company, our purpose is to be the champion for small independent businesses, specifically the Kirana shopkeepers. And we are seeing some very interesting trends. They have been very agile in terms of modernizing their business. And they've also been in the forefront of digitalizing their business. I have been in this industry for a very long time. I can tell you that the situation was very different maybe 4 or 5 years ago, right? But in the last 2 years, the kind of adoption of new technology we are seeing by the Kiranas is absolutely awe-inspiring. And I can talk more about it as we go along.
Cool. Arvind, that's thanks. Obviously data is data, and as consultants, there is no other truth as opposed to numbers, and that's very heartening to know. But if I also at the same time take a view of a Kirana, right? Business has gotten complex, right? There's so many new products, new assortment, new brands. I run a small store, 10 feet by 10 feet. The plethora of offerings my consumers want, right? They're reading about it, they're experiencing it. Similarly, expectations are going up, right? Everybody wants to do, digital payments. People want delivery at home.
Absolutely.
Want to engage. So business is complex, right? It's whether it's products, whether it's services, whether it's timings. I think we all are living as consumers in an on-demand, especially in urban, right? How do you see, Kiranas trying to, evolve to meet these requirements, right? They seem to be getting more and more. Especially when, and you spoke about technology, would love to hear what is available to them, right? Their own capabilities, their own ability to find and adapt to this may be limited, right, upfront. So what have you seen, and maybe share some examples that would bring this to life would be helpful.
Okay, so I think I look at the problem, and that's the way we looked at the situation for Kiranas from both supply side and demand side. On the supply side, there are a lot of challenges. If I'm a small Kirana shop owner, currently I'm dealing with hundreds of FMCG companies, the Unilever, the Procters, Nestle's, Coke, Pepsi's of the world. Then I'm selling a lot of staples, rice, pulses, etc. So I go and buy these either from organized players or I buy them from the wholesale market. So I'm dealing with 100 plus suppliers. So that's a big inconvenience, right? Especially now when you have to be GST compliant and the tax authorities are, very, very vigilant. So one of the big conveniences that is available when they shop with Metro, and there are some other players too, is one-stop shopping. So you can get everything that you need to keep in a Kirana store to satisfy your customer under one roof. That's a big plus. Second thing is they want goods to be delivered to them pretty quickly. The fact of the matter is the fill rates on the FMCG side by all the big companies have always been in the range of 75 to 80%. So you place an order and 80% of the lines are getting filled on time. But they are demanding 90% plus fill rates. So a player like us is able to fill that gap. The third and most important thing is, pricing. Kiranas are extremely price sensitive. The nature of the beast in B2B. If there are 20 articles where your prices are lower and one article where your prices are higher, they will buy only 19 articles out of 20 from you and buy the 20th article from the place which is selling it cheaper. This doesn't happen in the case of B2C customer, right? They'll buy everything from one platform, whether it's a store, physical store, or whether it's an e-commerce site. So you have to be extremely price sensitive. So what has happened is that we are also seeing consolidation in the whole distribution space for Kiranas. There are big players like us who have come to the picture. We offer everything under one roof. We do a very thorough price benchmarking, and we are able to offer them articles at prices which are lower than what they're getting either from the traditional wholesale markets or from the other organized players or even from the FMCG distributors. 2% is a bare minimum we offer. This is on what we call key value items, KVIs. On non-KVIs, the price advantage could be even as high as 5 to 10%. This is on the supply side. On the demand side, what is happening is they have also been struggling with all these e-commerce players. Now there are, the biggest USP for a Kirana was instant delivery. You place an order on the phone and they would deliver it to you in 30 minutes. Now there are a lot of platforms which are, delivering within 25, 30, 15 minutes even, right? So that USP has been taken away from the Kiranas. But there are other things that, still are working in favor of the Kiranas. One is the local assortment, because many of these e-commerce platforms don't have the local assortment which a customer in Whitefield or a consumer in Whitefield wants, which is different from a consumer in Malleshwaram, if I take the example of Bangalore. So local assortment. Secondly, they're able to offer credit to their customers. Many of them are catering to 100, 200 households in the neighborhood, and they maintain a monthly book of accounts, and you settle the account at the end of the month. So that's still very much there. Let's talk now about technology. So what we have done is we are telling Kiranas that instead of physically coming to a store or physically going to a market, we have a platform, online platform. You have visibility to the top products which you need, which you basically sell in your store. You can check the prices transparently and you can place an order and we can deliver the same day. So that's a big convenience. I don't have to now go to a wholesale market or call up 10 people to check the prices. It's all available on an online platform. They can also, if they want, come to a physical store if they like. And we are finding that people are showing hybrid behavior. When I say hybrid behavior, they sometimes come to the Metro Big Box store and a lot of times are placing an order online. So once a week, they will come to the physical store. Other 5-6 days, they'll place an order online. And we are finding that customers who are engaging with us in this hybrid fashion, their sales are 5 to 8 times higher versus offline or pure online customers. So that's a big plus. So that's one advantage of technology, that they can get everything under one roof. They have transparency around pricing. Now, the biggest issue they had in the past was that if they really declare their true sales, the GST authorities will come and hound them. We are also telling them, and increasingly many of them come and tell us we want to have a peaceful sleep at night. So the advantage of shopping from us is they get a GST compliant invoice. And if they input everything into their system, because there are point of sale devices that we offer to them virtually for free, they can digitalize their entire inventory, right? So that's on the supply side. On the demand side, similarly, we have, and many of us have given them B2C apps. So there are B2C apps which their customers can look at. They then don't have to call up the Kirana. They can go through that app. They know what are the prices. They know what is available. They place an order online. They can even accept digital payments. And the process is as seamless or as convenient as in a either e-commerce platform or as in a modern retail store. So many of them have now adopted this digital way of placing orders with their suppliers and customers placing digital orders with them. But the other important thing is Indian customers are very price sensitive. So we have been educating the Kiranas that the days of selling at MRP are over. In the past, they would sell everything at MRP. Now, because we consolidate buying of almost 10 lakh Kiranas, we can bring the benefits of scale to them. And we are able to offer them prices which are lower than what they would normally get the products from in the past from the traditional wholesalers or the distributors. And they can now easily discount and sell below MRP. So now, we have a smart Kirana program, and many of these Kiranas in this program, they're selling products 5, 10, 15% lower than MRP, which is what some of the other successful retailers have adopted. If you look at DMart, they say very clearly everything is 6%, 7% below MRP. So Kiranas also realize that's the way forward if they have to survive in this new era. The other advantage is about the shopping experience, because nobody likes to go to a Kirana store with you stand outside, everything is inside. There is a barrier between the shopkeeper and you. So we are also helping them reconvert these stores into modern format stores on the lines of 7-Eleven, which offers a much better shopping experience to their customers. And that is also leading to customer delight. So imagine now you make a Kirana digitalize completely. You make it into an open format store. They start stocking some categories which they were not stocking earlier, like frozen foods. There's been a big demand for frozen foods in the last couple of years, ready to eat foods, organic products. They were not stocking these things. We are partnering with our suppliers and give them a freezer for free. Like Coke and Pepsi have done this for donkey's years, giving them a Visi cooler. But nobody thought about doing this in terms of freezer space. So we offer a free freezer, provided they buy a certain minimum quantity of frozen products every month, right? So they're able to broaden their assortment and they're able to cater to even affluent shoppers in their neighborhood. So that's the change that we have seen. And people who have participated in this program, we have seen their sales go up by 40 to 50%, despite brutal competition.
That's quite an impact, Arvind. And thanks, very comprehensive set of stuff, right? As you said, whether it's procuring, whether it's logistics, and on the front end, right? Whether it's selling and engaging, digital or technology kind of, and leveraging obviously some of the ecosystem players, what you are doing to drive performance improvement. And the numbers you said is obviously nobody can deny that, right? That kind of impact. I know we are short of time also, but just one question, right? So you spoke about Malleshwaram, right? Two Kiranas right next to each other. One transforms, there are millions of them, right? Many don't, right? 9 don't, unfortunately. It's a slow and steady. What do you think is holding them back, right? Is it money? Is it willingness? Is it like, it's not easy trying to convince, whatever at last count, I think 12 million, quote unquote, people out there, right? So what allows one person to do it and the other 9 to not? And what can be as the ecosystem do to nudge the others to, right?
Very good question, Abhishek, and we see this all the time. So I will say the first and foremost requirement is the outlook of the owner of this Kirana shop. So if they have a progressive modern outlook, they are willing to adopt technology, they jump on the bandwagon pretty quickly, right? And they are reaping the benefits because their sales go up and they become the store of the community, so to say, because they become the number one store in that community. The second thing that we are also seeing is there are a lot of these Kirana shop owners who now have higher ambition. It's nice to see aspiration levels going up. So many of them want to open a chain of Kirana stores, right? So they say, I have one shop, which I inherited from my father. Why can't I have a chain of 4 or 5 supermarkets? Not Kiranas, but supermarkets. So can you help me do that? So, that's the attitude of these people. I think what holds somebody back sometimes is also capital, but also more importantly, the attitude, because we have enough data to say that if somebody opts for this Smart Kirana program, the whole thing pays back in less than 12 months. So you recoup your investment through higher sales and higher profits in, I think, 6 to 8 months. We also have been, I will say, making a lot of representations to the government to extend the Mudra scheme to a lot of these Kirana shopkeepers who may lack capital to expand their business. Right. So that's an area where we need help from the government so that not just maybe 1 in 10 Kiranas, but probably 40-50% of the Kiranas adopt new technology and new way of doing business. That's where the government of India can really help.
No, that's great. So I think, like any other change is tough. But at least I think in this case, it's the softer aspects which are holding people back. I think we as a country have the technology. A lot of people are working on it. There are smart solutions available. And I think this is what consumers are wanting, right? So there is a clear need for it. I think ecosystem players, obviously you as part of the wholesale retail piece, as well as other retailers, brand owners, banks, financial institutions, government, I think creating some sort of a momentum to create win-win situations, as you said, right? More revenue means more revenues for the brand. It means better choice for consumers. And obviously it cuts down on wastage and means more taxes for the government. So everybody wins in that case. I know we are almost out of time, but any last reflections on this, 2 years, 3 years down the road when we redo this fireside, hopefully in person, anything that you would wish for, or, any last comments before I wrap this up?
I think there's one gold mine sitting with the Kiranas, which is the B2C analytics. So far, nobody has been able to lay their hands on what is actually the shopping behavior of customers who come and shop at these Kirana stores. We have this data available for e-commerce players, for modern retail players. So if somebody can formalize this whole ecosystem and you get to know what is the shopping behavior of customers at these neighborhood Kirana stores, it's a gold mine because you can analyze that data and use that to do a lot of cross promotion, increase your sales, target customers with specific promotions and so on. Just to give you an example, we have done it, but these are very initial steps. We saw some customers coming to certain Kiranas who were buying baby food, but they were not buying diapers, etc. So we said, here's an opportunity to do cross promotion and offer discount on Pampers or Huggies, and we can get this funded from the suppliers. And suppliers were very happy because they never got access to this data from a Kirana shop. So there's a huge opportunity to use this data to the benefit of suppliers, Kiranas, and Kirana's customers. And that's an area where I hope to see a lot of action going forward.
Excellent. So thanks, Arvind.
Thank you, Abhishek.
So, lots happening as we all heard, but I think there's lots of potential to do more and do more with more people and kind of create much more win-win situations. It's been a great chat, and thank you. Thanks everyone for listening in. Cheers.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mediratta and Mr. Malhotra, for such an engaging and informative chat session. Now we'll move to the next session. Stay tuned, everyone.